Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and in today's video, we are gonna have a look at what I think is the next TLC dinosaur, that being good old Concavenator. Also, if you are new here, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and maybe even leave a comment down below. I love reading them, and as always, I hope you enjoy the video. Anyway, starting off with why do I think Concavenator is the next TLC dino? Well, first of all, when a TLC is about to happen, a few things get pointed out to us. Either nothing, or either a new ability or some sort of new animation, and Concavenator fits one of those categories. Not the nothing one. It has some new animations. So, it got a new jump animation, which you can see here, which is quite nice. I like that. And then there's also new swimming animation. So if I just hop into this water, and you can see when I turn, look at that. The turning in the water, it leans so much. I don't know if it did this before, but I'm pretty sure it didn't. And then the swimming animation itself also looks a bit different. So what does this mean for Concavenator? Well, looking at this and what Alderon seems to be doing with their TLCs is I think Concavenator is going to get a bit of a new gameplay style from what it currently has, because currently the aquatic build is useless. It literally only adds to I can swim better and bite stuff in the water. And I think Alderon wants to change that. I think they want to give Concavenator a few different ways of playing. Because currently it is literally just that one build of being on land that is actually viable. Aquatic build, not too good. Land build, moderately okay. And I think they're going to do this by giving it some new abilities. And probably similar to Dinakaris and Suchomimus, where they got land abilities that are good on land and aquatic abilities that are good in the water. But I think they're going to do Conch differently. I think Alderon is smart enough to know that if they just copy and paste the same thing again and again, people are gonna hate it. So, what do I think they will be giving Concavenator? Well, first of all, I think they're gonna give it a type of Duke, but not a land Duke, an aquatic Duke. They've tested this out with Dinakaris, except it's not really a Duke, it can just kind of lunge in a certain direction. I think they're going to give a Duke to Conch, where in the water it does like a 180 turn. Maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure how that would work, but I feel like that would suit Concavenator when it comes to being in the water. I also think they're going to give it more slots, because currently if you want to use water build stuff, you have to choose between all your land build stuff, and that sucks. So I feel like they're going to maybe give it 2 claw slots, so you could have front limb, and you could have a claw attack with the webbed claws. I also think that they're going to change the kick, because currently the ripping kick, you can only do it on land, and it literally does bleed and damage. That is all it does. I feel like the kick, they're going to change so you can use it in water and land, but it'll do different things. So maybe, just a little game theory here, what if they made it so if it's on land, it does like maybe 100 damage, and if it's used in the water, it does maybe 75 damage, but bleed as well? So maybe they could make it so, like I say, if you're on land, no bleed but more damage, and if you're in the water, less damage but some bleed as well. Because bleed for aquatics is quite a bit worse than on land. You can't really run off and sit it down anywhere because you're in the ocean. And I feel like that could be really, really cool for a Concavenator to have. You know, the ability to use the kick, but also be able to do it in the water as well, and have some different gameplay, or maybe even on land it could reduce armor or something, I don't know. But I feel like that would be awesome for the kick. And also, again, I also think just like the front limb slot, they should give Concavenator 2 back limb slots, so it can have the kick and the swim buff thing. Unless they decide to go with this route of just getting rid of the swimming buff stuff, and just making it better at swimming by default. But then I kind of see that less of being a build type thing and more just, oh yeah, it's just good in the water now. You know, I feel like it should still have the option to be worse in the water than it is on land, because that's kind of Concavenator's bit, you know? It's a semi-aquatic 2-slot which isn't Megalania, and it's pretty good at... oh god, sneeze. It's pretty good at doing what it does so far on land. It just needs a bit of an extra push when it comes to water stuff, which I feel like Alderaan knows exactly that problem. You know, from what I've seen, they're really good at listening to the community, mostly. Stuff with like Anodontosaurus's tail slam, you couldn't turn with it, and now you can. I also think Concavenator's going to get some new hides. Maybe not the same as Dinocaris and Suko, because if this thing had the ability to increase its health or combat weight by a big number like that, like 500 more combat weight on a conch, that would be ridiculous. Because currently Suko and Dinocaris can both do that if they use Waterlogged. But then again, I also think if they did add those hides to Conch, they would change the value. So maybe instead of 500 combat weight, you just get like an extra 250 or something. You know, something to shake it up a little bit. But also keep Concavenator in the pattern of this semi-aquatic thing that they seem to be doing. Because they seem to be giving the same semi-aquatic abilities to their semi-aquatic dinosaurs. Which, hopefully, we can cross our fingers and pray that Alderaan doesn't just make Conch a copy-paste of a small Suko, because that would kinda suck. However, something I think would be really cool is if they embrace the fact that this thing is a Carcharodontosaurid and let it do something with Tyranitar. Because Tyranitar got a nerf this update. You know, it got a nerf with one of its only abilities that hasn't been touched, and that was Blood Soaked. For no reason. I don't know why. And it seems like they want to keep Tyranitar at a lower level than what it is. So maybe if they added a certain sense or something where Concavenator and Tyranitar could perhaps help each other, that could be pretty good, especially for mix packing, which I know a lot of people don't like, but at the same time, it is pretty cool to have, like, Tyranitar being the only apex Carcharodontosaurid, and then Concavenator. And this would also attach onto modded dinosaurs as well, like Giganotosaurus, if it's like a sense Conch has, where it buffs Carcharodontosaurids, I don't know, bleed or something. I don't know, I think that would be cool. It could even do something where if you're grouped with Conch as a Carcharodontosaurid, you have something better in the water? Maybe. Like 15% more bleed to wet targets or something. That would be pretty cool. I also think Concavenator will have the ability to turn things wetter, because, again, following the trend of semi-aquatics, they seem to be getting that a thing, so you can use the water build on land. Which, again, thank you, Alderaan, that is such a good idea. You know, they first of all split land and water abilities into 2 builds, and then they make it so you can use the water build on land, which I think is just really good for gameplay. But you know, that's all my thoughts I really have for Concavenator. I don't know if any of these are gonna happen. Hopefully some of them do. Also, if you guys don't like any of these, or you do, please let me know in the comments below. Also, leave your own suggestions down below, not video suggestions, ability suggestions that you'd like Concavenator to have in the future for its upcoming TLC when it gets it. Now again, this isn't saying it is next, this is just saying it probably is next, because of what we've seen with the new animations and everything. Anyway, thank you all so much for making it to the end. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And again, like I said at the start, if you're new here, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, because it helps me out an absolute ton. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.